Hello and welcome to Shelby Township Parks and Recreation in the News. I'm Joe Youngblood, and today we have a special guest from the Burgess Shadbush Nature Center, Lauren Oxlade. Lauren, thanks for being on the show today.
Sure, thanks for having me.
And as you've seen from some of the past episodes, Lauren usually has one of the animals from the Nature Center. And today, Lauren, I'm going to say, looks like we have a lizard. Mm-hmm. Now, I think I saw one of these before when I was down in Cancun. They had these all over the place. I don't know if it's the same style or not, but I don't think you find these in Michigan.
This is not a Michigan lizard, and the one that you saw in Cancun probably wouldn't have been this kind of lizard.
Okay.
This lizard naturally is only from Australia.
Really?
Yeah, it's fairly common in the pet
country.
trade. Yeah, it is very common in the pet trade because of its good temperament. I wouldn't necessarily say that they make a good pet. But as far as reptiles go, lizards especially, they do have a very good personality.
He seems very laid back. Mm-hmm. Since we walked in here today, he hasn't moved hardly at all. Moved with his head a little bit, looking around. And I noticed a couple questions I have is on his back, and I don't know if Andrew can pick it up from the camera, and along he has whiskers, but it almost looks like a safety defense mechanism on his coat. Yeah,
these spines that you see along the side of the body and the face, you can feel him if you want.
Now, if I put my hand towards his head, should you turn him? Will he?
No, she'll be totally
lunge
fine.
Him? You sure? Does she have teeth?
Yeah, she does. I've actually fed her I don't know if this is too graphic, but I fed her a baby mouse.
Is that what
and she
they
bit it right
eat?
in half, so she does have sharp teeth.
Holy cow.
But we don't give her those on a regular basis. They're really, really high in protein, so she only gets them about once a month. But she does have sharp teeth. But the spines, you can feel them. They're not super sharp. It's more so to make her look like she's very prickly and like she wouldn't be good to eat. And then if you feel the scales on the back, if you run your hand that way, they feel a certain way, and then if you run your hand the opposite way, they feel a little bit different.
You almost hurt yourself.
So she does have pretty
tough skin. Is that
tough
part
skin.
of the defense mechanism, like if it's coming up from behind?
Yep, and then
there's like needles.
And then the whiskers or the spines on the face. That's how they get the name bearded dragon.
Yeah.
Because if you look underneath at, I don't know if I can tip her up, at the spines on the bottom, it almost looks like she has a little beard. And then also what they can do if they're afraid or if they're displaying dominance to another bearded dragon, their throat will turn really, really dark, and it'll look even more so like a beard.
Oh, no kidding.
So that's how they get the name bearded dragon.
Have you guys seen Sunny do that at all?
No, she usually doesn't. Oscar, he's our male, he's our dominant one.
Okay.
So he'll bob his head to display dominance and darken his throat, and then what she'll do in response to display submission is she'll take her hand and she'll wave it in a circle.
Really?
Yeah, so it's pretty cool to see.
Now, do those two get along?
Yeah. We've never seen them displaying aggression towards each other. I would imagine if you had two males and a female together, the males would be more aggressive, but a male and a female get along pretty well.
How did she get her nickname Sunny?
Actually, she was named Sunny when we had a naming contest. For quite a while, she didn't have a name. And so we allowed the kids to submit different things that they wanted to name her. I think Spike was probably the most common, but we wanted to pick something a little bit more girly for her.
So it doesn't mean that she likes basking out in the sun?
Well, she does, and that's part of the reason why we chose Sunny. We drew, I think, 5 or 6 of them, and then out of those, we chose the one that was most fitting.
Yeah, that seems perfect. Yeah, because sometimes, you even think of, which I'm sure in the same family, an alligator outside of the pond.
Yep, both reptiles. The thing with reptiles is they are whatever temperature their environment is. So in order to metabolize and be active, they have to warm up. They can't control their body temperature the way that we can. So that's why you see a lot of reptiles basking in the sun, is so that they can warm up, they can digest their food, they can hunt, things like that.
Now, can our residents come to the Nature Center to visit Sunny?
Yeah, Sunny's here all the time. Okay. There's a chance that she might be off-site on a field trip or something like that, but I'd say 99% of the time she's here. And she's one of the animals that we usually get out for our visitors because she does have such a calm temperament.
Yeah, she sure does. And what type of environment is she in the Nature Center? An aquarium? Does she have a heat lamp?
She's in an aquarium. She is in an aquarium. And what's the most important thing for reptiles that are active during the day, and the word for that is diurnal, is that they have a UVB light. And what the UVB light does is it sort of replicates sunlight. Without that UVB, they can't properly process calcium, and they eventually develop metabolic bone disease, which is one of the #1 killers of reptiles in captivity.
Really?
So she needs a UVB light. She needs to be at about 85 degrees with a basking spot of about 90 or 95, and then no lower than 70 degrees at night.
Okay.
And then a water dish that she likes to lay in.
Oh, yeah. Now, would Sunny be a good pet for a young child here up in Michigan, or is it very difficult to maintain the correct temperature?
I would have to say that unless you have an allergy, unless there's some reason why you can't have a mammal, a dog, a cat, something like that, reptiles really don't make good pets.
Okay.
The only reason why, obviously, we have them is because we use them as teaching tools.
Sure.
Reptiles, they don't want to be with you. They don't want to play. They don't want attention. So for someone that really is looking for a quality pet, they're probably your worst possible choice. And their maintenance is very, very expensive and very time consuming.
Okay. Now you mentioned Sunny bit a mouse in half. What is its normal diet?
It's a good question. She's an omnivore, which means she has a natural diet of plants and meat. So here at the Nature Center, we'll feed her a variety of
That's kind of like that
greens.
new diet, the Pinelo
Oh,
diet?
the paleo diet?
Paleo diet.
Yep, just minus the nuts for Sunny. So she gets mostly crickets, which are dusted with a calcium supplement, which is to help in avoiding that metabolic bone disease.
Okay.
And then she also gets tomato worms, which would be
Tomato worms?
Yeah, the tomato worm that you would find on your actual tomato plant in the garden. But she doesn't get those a whole lot because they're pretty fatty. But she gets them about once or twice a week. Her main diet is crickets and mealworms, and then she also gets salads a couple times a week, which are also dusted with a multivitamin, and those are usually darker greens, your collards, and a little bit of spinach, kale, things like that.
Okay.
The iceberg lettuce has no nutritional value, so if anyone has reptiles at home, stay away from that.
Does she open her mouth at all? It's been kind of grimacing the whole time.
She does. I've heard different things about why they open their mouth. I've heard it's stress. I've heard it's temperature. She does sometimes, but not very often. So if it is stress related, she's not super stressed. And if she was, she would expand her body. She'd take in a deep breath, and then that would allow her to expand her body, and it would make these spines a little bit sharper. Okay. But obviously, she's not doing that, so you can tell that she's not super stressed.
Good. Now, just talking about the Nature Center, getting away from Sunny for a minute. We are at the beautiful Burgess Shadbush Nature Center. We have a lot of inventory here, a lot of things to take care of. The place is in beautiful condition, very organized. I assume a lot goes into that, keeping this organized like this, all the different displays and so on and so forth.
It does. I think people forget how much work it is to maintain a building, just not only just the building, but the programs, the animals. The animals themselves are a lot of work, and we are understaffed. So we're always in need of volunteers. We're always eager to hear the public's input.
If somebody wanted to volunteer, Lauren, how would they go about it?
They can come in, anytime that we're open. Normal hours of operation, they can stop in. They need to bring a picture ID with them. They need to be over 14, preferably an adult. But we do take, we have some younger volunteers. So they need to bring a picture ID. They just need to stop in and fill out a volunteer form. If they're over 18, we will run a background check on them. And then they can either stop in as they choose, or we can call them when we need them. A lot of our long-term volunteers just kind of know when they're needed, and we don't really have to babysit them too much.
Well, it sure seems like a great place to volunteer.
Thank you. It is.
I know I've been to some events up here, quite a few events in the past, and the volunteers seem to be having a really nice time.
Yeah.
So,
and we have a great group of kids that come here on a regular basis. There's a lot of other things that they could be doing.
Yeah. As you can see, Sunny is starting to warm up to me. This is a nice reptile, great pet. Now, Sunny's in wonderful shape, great health. If somebody brought a injured animal to the Nature Center or has questions about it, what should they do, Lauren?
Well, in the spring and early summer, we get a lot of phone calls about injured animals. People find baby animals. The gray squirrels have already started to being born this time of year. So if you find a baby animal, if you find an injured animal, we're not a rehabilitation facility.
So in the spring, they're a lot more active.
Yes.
That's why you're going to have them.
Yep, that's when most of the baby animals are being born. So we do get a lot of things brought to us in the spring and summer. if someone finds a baby animal, they should keep it warm and quiet and someplace dark. That helps reduce the stress on it.
Oh, okay.
And they need to go to the DNR's website and get a list of legal rehabilitators.
I see.
And it'll be categorized by, I believe, by county or by city. But if you go to michigandnr.com/DLR, that'll have a list of all of the Michigan rehabbers, and it also lists what they're specialized in.
Perfect.
And that's where people need to take. They should not try and rehab them themselves because the animals 99% of the time do not survive.
I see. Well, that's some great information there, Lauren. We really appreciate that. I always want to try to help the animals out. One last question I do have. You said most of the babies are born in the spring. Is that just something out in nature? They do time it that way due to the severe winters?
Yeah, there are some animals. If you remember from our last segment, I had the snapping turtles.
Yes.
And the baby snapping turtles are born usually in September.
Okay.
So there are some babies that are born later in the year. Also, you will get some animals like possums and squirrels that if they have an early enough litter, they can have another litter later in the year. So you will get baby animals into August and September, but
Just depends on the species. Then.
right. Yeah. So you will get baby animals most of the time that we have warm weather.
Well, that's great. Well, Lauren, as usual, we appreciate Lauren Oxlade's your wonderful words of wisdom for
you.
nature in general and for all of our Shelby residents here. Lauren, thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Until next time, for Nature Center in the News, first we'll be right back with Parks and Recreation in the News.
The picnic shelters at Riverbends Park are available for rent starting January 9th, 2012. Reservations for the Bittersweet, Hickory Grove, and Maple View shelter will be accepted for groups for the months of May through September. For available dates, please contact Shelby Township Parks and Recreation Department at 586-731-0300. Amenities include a number of picnic tables, 8 grills scattered throughout the main park area, playscape and disc golf course, horseshoe pits and volleyball nets. For more information and residential and non-residential fees, please call the Shelby Township Parks and Recreation Department at 586-731-0300.
Hello and welcome back to Shelby Township Parks and Recreation in the News. I'm Joe Youngblood. With me is Cindy Martell from the Parks and Recreation office. Cindy, thanks for coming on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
We have Cindy on the show today. She's going to talk about the Shelby Parks and Rec Summer Recreation Day Camp program. This program's been running for over 30 years now. Believe it or not, when I was in elementary school a couple years ago, I attended myself and all my brothers, my sister, and now I have a daughter, 9, who attends. So it's been a wonderful program, Cindy, and we appreciate all you do for the program. And can you give us, obviously we get quite a few calls. It's in our newsletter that's been out.
Yep.
First of all, what are the dates of the Summer Rec Day Camp? And is it just a couple days a week or full weeks?
It's for 8 weeks, and it starts, we're aiming for June 16th, but
Okay.
of course, because of the kids and the snow days and that, hopefully things don't get pushed back.
We don't know how long. Right, they could be there an extra week.
Yeah, I'm sure they're hoping they're not.
Right. That's true.
We're going to aim for June 16th. It goes 8 weeks, and it's a Monday through Friday program.
Okay.
So they can go, 1 day, 2 days, 5 days, whatever, mom or dad or they choose how many days they want to attend. It's from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. And we're still working with Utica Community Schools in regards to what locations we're going to have.
Perfect. So you have some kids that will go the full day and some kids that have the option of only going a couple days, depending on their schedule.
Right,
with
exactly.
Sports camps or so on and so forth.
Right, it's a very reasonable amount of money, and so therefore a lot of people register them. If they go on vacation a week or two, they may not attend for a week or two. They may
Or
only
if
go
their grandma
twice.
and grandpa's twice a week. And,
Right,
yeah.
and they only go a couple days a week. So it's kind of it fits everyone as different schedules that everybody has going on for the summer.
Now, if you're just signing up a single child, because you have a single child to sign up or a family rate, what is the cost for a single child for the 8 weeks?
For 8 weeks, it's $200 for one child.
For 8 weeks?
For 8 weeks.
Boy, you can't beat that.
I know, it's a very good price.
And then what is the family rate?
Well, it's $200 for the first child, then it's
Okay.
$100 for the second child, and $50 for every child thereafter.
Oh, okay, so it depends how many.
So
you
it
have.
depends on how many children you have in the
So the
program.
more kids you have, the more of a reduction you get.
Yeah, you're getting a really good discount either way.
Okay, good. Years and years ago, we used to go on quite a few field trips, and we've kind of, like a lot of communities, kind of changed gears and for a more safe day camp, have everything at the site. So just walk us through a typical couple weeks. What would the parents expect their child to do there as far as special events?
Okay, well, there's a senior leader at each site, and so they're kind of like the teacher where they have like a lesson plan for the week, a calendar that they'll pass out on Friday to all the parents as they're picking up their kids. They can pick it up so they know what's going to be going on for the next week,
Perfect.
first of all.
Yeah.
And so then a typical week would be, there's usually one special event. We've had a magician come in. We've rented like a water inflatable and had a water day.
I know, yes.
Actually, the nature center comes to the sites. They bring some animals. They do a little craft. So we do different kind of special events. That's usually one day a week. And then on Friday we have a local ice cream truck come. So after lunch the kids get to buy an ice cream.
I'm sure that's an exciting day, ice cream day.
Yeah, ice cream day is always a big hit. The kids like that a lot, especially on those warm days. So,
Yeah.
so that's
And they're
kinda,
expecting a real hot summer.
that's what we hear.
That's what they say. The Farmer's Almanac, due to they predict the extremely cold weather and now the extremely warm summer. So the ice cream and water days will be perfect for summer rec.
I'm looking forward to it.
Now, Cindy, we have obviously these facilities are not township-owned facilities; they're at the school. So, do we have the list of schools yet that it's going to be the different elementary schools will be at this summer?
It's not confirmed. I've been in
Okay.
contact with them, and I'm trying to figure out, what's going to best suit us.
So, what would be the best time for residents to call? Would it be in April?
Yeah, I believe that we put down April 15th, after
Oh,
April 15th,
perfect.
to give us a call, and that we should have it, designated by then, so we can give everybody accurate information as to which sites. We're aiming for 3 different sites, just like we did last
Okay.
year. Obviously, trying to get them, somewhere, obviously in Shelby Township boundaries, and try to spread them out a little bit so it can kind of accommodate everybody.
Sure. Now, what is the age group or grade level that children are eligible for the summer rec day camp?
They have to be entering grades 1 and go through 6th grade.
Okay, so entering first grade.
In the fall, entering
And
first grade through 6th
First
grade.
through sixth grade, okay.
Right.
Well, that's very reasonable. It's all designed for elementary age children.
Right.
And also, I know in the past we used to have a junior high program. If we do have anyone that's interested, as in the past, would you recommend if they do, they can call in. We can start a list if we see
Sure.
there's enough interest to possibly, May Stecker site or.
Yeah,
different
absolutely. We've done that in the last couple of years,
Sure.
and we've gotten like 10 or 12. But if we can see that there's more of an
Yeah.
interest, and we get more people to call, and we can afford to hire some staff, we would love to do something like that where we can accommodate the older kids and give them, obviously that would be geared differently than it would be
Sure.
for the elementary kids to keep their interest.
Definitely.
But even at our sites now, we do break them up between lower and upper elementary to kind of.
Well, that's a great idea. Yeah.
In certain aspects, just for safety and for interest.
Yeah, good point. Safety and interest, not just safety, just
Right.
what they're interested in and
Yeah.
different types of games. So, and also most of the sites, Cindy, are they air conditioned or not? Because I know we have some extremely hot days. We'll get some calls on that because I know in the past you've had some movie days when it's really hot and humid.
Right, or rainy.
Sure.
If we have inclement weather. Yes, we have the gyms at all of the sites that we get contracts for, and they are air conditioned. And generally, we get one classroom as well that has a VCR, so that they can go ahead and watch a movie.
Yeah, it's nice to have the kids relax a little bit. and-
Right, and even at that
Watch a
point,
movie.
sometimes we even separate them if necessary
Sure.
to make them a little smaller groups. A group in the gym,
Right.
maybe doing arts and crafts, or playing basketball or something, and then a movie in one of the classrooms.
Well, good. Well, thank you very much, Cindy, for being on. And if you're interested in the Summer Recreation Day Camp program, please give us a call at Parks and Rec 731-0300. We'll answer any and all questions that you do have. And one thing I can tell you is your son and daughter will definitely have a great time. It's during the summer, they want to still have play with their friends and just have some type of a structured daily activity. And this is it. So Summer Rec 2014, right, Cindy? Anything else you'd like to add?
No, I think we covered it all.
Just sign up
Just
and
sign
have a great
up.
time, right?
Right, and be ready for summer.
Right, exactly. We can all say that. All right, thanks a lot, Cindy.
Thank you.
We'll be right back after these messages with Shelby Parks and Rec in the news.
Historic Hope Chapel, built in the 1890s, is available for rent for weddings and other ceremonies beginning the first business day in September. Hope Chapel is fully heated and air conditioned. Available amenities include podium and sound system, seating available for 80, 2 restrooms, party preparation room, and the Hope Chapel is fully accessible to handicapped visitors. For more information, please call the Shelby Township Parks and Recreation Department at 586-731-0300.
Hello and welcome back to Shelby Parks and Recreation in the news. Our segment now is with Mike Adams from the Parks and Recreation Department. Mike, thanks for being on the show today.
Sure.
Just recently, all of our residents are aware, we had the News Worth Knowing that was recently mailed out, and this gets mailed out to every resident in Shelby Township, and it has all the upcoming community events, programs, and special events. So Mike, we do have, speaking of that, a couple special events coming up. First off, let's start with the Mommy and Son Dance. If you give us a little bit of information as the location and time, because we know this has been going on for over 30 years now, and it's at the beautiful facility, Cherry Creek.
Yeah, this will be my 13th mother-son dance.
Time flies.
It does. Seems like I just started doing these yesterday. It's a big date change. It's always been in May. This year we moved it up to March.
Okay.
March 26th is the new date. So anyone accustomed to going in May, I don't want them to miss out. It's March 26th, which is a Wednesday. Excuse me. So I have tickets available, and we have our normal DJ, good food, and a photographer there to take pictures of the great setting at Cherry Creek.
So they get the pictures there that night. Do they purchase the pictures ahead of time, or do they pay that evening?
They'll pay that evening,
Okay.
and everything will be printed on site. So they'll walk home from the dance with their pictures.
Oh, they get it that quickly.
Yep.
That's pretty impressive.
We're using a new photographer, photographic impressions that we use for some of our baseball and basketball.
Yeah.
They have on-site printing, so they'll be able to leave with their pictures that day.
That is nice because,
You might forget about it.
well, for sure. And
You would forget about it.
Yes, definitely. And when you're at an event like that, it's always nice to come home to show your spouse the picture, the other siblings.
That you're actually there.
That you're actually
Yes.
there, and what a wonderful time
Yep.
you had at the event. So
Yep.
that is really nice. Mike, we also had, switching gears a little bit, but staying on the event scene, we have the Easter egg scramble and the Easter egg lunch
Yep.
coming up April 12th.
Yep, April 12th, a little later this year, which is probably good for this year with the snow.
Yeah,
I know.
on that note, wear your snow pants and your snow boots on Saturday, April 12th, because a good chance we will be doing it in the snow.
Yeah, no matter when we do it, the weather's always questionable, but this year you can guarantee it's going to be bad. So April 12th, starting out with the lunch. The lunch starts at 11 o'clock at the community center. If anyone's interested, we still have tickets left for that. We only have about 20 tickets left, but that's 11 till approximately 12:30. Easter Bunny will be there, and we have a special guest entertainer there.
Perfect.
And good lunch. And then we get done just in time that people have enough time to get over River Bends for the Easter egg scramble, which I believe starts at 1 o'clock for the younger group.
Younger kids, 1 o'clock, and then 6 to 10-year-olds follows at 2 o'clock. So that's, Mike just made a great point. You could have a nice day of it. You go there with the family, have your nice lunch, and head right over to River Bends for the Easter egg scramble.
Yeah, and there's lots, we'll have eggs to hand out at the lunch as well, but obviously, as you know, at the scramble, depending on how good of an egg hunter they are, they can get lots of eggs.
Yes, and on the older kids, don't forget to look for the golden egg. Kind of like Charlie looking for the golden ticket.
Yeah, Willy Wonka.
So, Willy Wonka. Look for the golden egg. You have a special prize in there. So we'd like to thank all the sponsors for these events that we have. It definitely reduces the cost that we have to charge for the residents for these special events. Mike, one last item. Eventually, we're going to have baseball because spring will come. What's the latest on certain divisions, without having to get into each division details, still time to register for certain divisions?
Some are full.
Okay.
We have been filling up since we have been taking registration since mid-January.
Okay.
But especially some of the younger divisions where we could play out here at Woodall, right next to the Nature Center. We have more fields. We have a lot of openings left in T-ball and coach pitch. So if you're a new player or a parent just looking to get their child into something, we still have a lot of openings left for that. Some of the older divisions where people are accustomed to playing, yes, we have filled up, but we still do take a wait list because people's schedules change from February to April. So people may drop or whatever. So we do take a wait list, and we do sometimes have luck placing people on teams due to drops or whatever. Even if we get enough kids, if we can, we'll form a couple new teams. So there's still hope for all ages. Just give us a call, and we'll get them on the wait list.
Good. And if you don't make it in the spring league, which we'll make every effort to get you in, we do have the Shelby Parks and Rec summer baseball season. And Mike, that's what's been a phenomenal addition to our sports
just in a
leagues.
few years it's tripled in size, so more people are doing both, or some are just finding the summer's more convenient than the craziness of the spring. So
Well, especially in the spring in Michigan, you have quite a few games at 48, 50 degrees, so it's kind of nice to play baseball at 80 degrees once in a while here in Michigan. So Mike, thanks for being on the show today. We appreciate it. And to all of our residents, thank you very much for watching Shelby Parks and Recreation in the News. If you have any questions, give us a call at 731-0300. Please remember, here at Shelby Parks and Rec, we create community through people, parks, and programs. Thanks for watching.